10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good night where you are, and welcome to season two, session four of our Thoughtful Thursdays. We appreciate you taking the time to be part of this professional group to share in nation building. As head teachers, we are expected to have the answers from various stakeholders, the ministry, the students, the teachers, our communities. And while we can offer our opinions at times, we seek answers. And those who seek answers usually expect factual information from us. As a result, we are often seen as a repository of factual information. Now that we have information at our fingertips and we are in the information age, anyone and everyone can post on the internet. As a result, we must learn how to filter. We must learn how to decipher. We must learn how to assess what we see on the internet and in books. Therefore, as principals, we must be problem solvers. We must be willing to act on recommendations. We must be willing to encourage others to engage in research. We must be data driven when it comes to decision making. We must also appreciate that research is a science. And tonight, we have a colleague who will share with us ways of cultivating a culture of research in our schools. I am Sean Aarons from Jamaica. My co-moderator is Diane Abel from Grenada. We have an exciting lineup this evening, and so we will take you through as we make sure your journey is good. I now turn over to Diane.
Thank you, Sean, and host of the land of reggae. Good evening, colleagues and guests. Sean has already welcomed you and enlightened you on the topic of discussion for this evening. So I simply encourage you to participate actively and enjoy as we experience our fourth edition of the second season of Thoughtful Thursday. My name is Diane Abel Jeffrey, Principal of St. Andrew's Anglican Secondary School and Secretary of the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools. At this time, I am pleased to invite you to share in discussion with other colleagues. We would like to hear from you how you have used research and data in your school context in decision making and implementation of changes and interventions. I repeat, how have you used research and data in your school context in decision making and implementation of changes and interventions? Our technical support team, RSC, will now randomly place you in a breakout room for 10 minutes. Share cheerfully. See you back in the main room soon. Enjoy. Okay, we are back to the main room. And Sean, we had some very rich sharing in my room, which was room number 5. So we had colleagues from Trinidad, Anguilla, Belize, Jamaica, and Grenada. And they have shared very willingly and actively what they have been doing as educators in terms of collating data and using it to influence what they do at the school in terms of implementation of changes and interventions. And what was underscored a lot is that students' outcome is of great importance. So many of the colleagues shared as on projects that they have implemented to cater to students who are low performers or not performing at the level that they're supposed to be performing. And they were able to use data that they have collated. So they looked at assessments like the CSEC performances of students throughout the years and or maybe the previous year, and they implemented changes. There was one instance with my colleague from Trinidad that spoke of the physical structure, how it was changed at her school, how she did that at her school to also cater for the needs of the students because of the drive to have students using more of the information and communication technology. So she implemented an additional computer lab, and she integrated whatever developments that were going to take place into her school development plan. So that was what happened at in my room.
Well, which was very exciting in room 3. And I just want to add that we do have persons from right across from Jamaica, Belize, Turks, all over. But one of the things that strikes us in terms of the data gathering, there were schools or territories focused on data gathering, and there are others who have really look at the analysis portion of data, while there are others who focus mostly on the usage. And I want to point out in terms of the data from Belize, where they're looking at in terms of usage, in terms of the dropout rates, and measuring the dropout rates and comparing that in terms of the performance of it. Also, one of the challenge from one of our person in the breakout room is the monitoring and evaluation aspect of research. And we really hope we can shed some light this evening, how best we can strengthen that area as we seek to improve. But it was good that persons are gathering data, how they're using the platform, etc. And so later you'll have your opportunity to ask questions and get clarification on how you can improve that. So yes, it's over now to Diane.
All right. And every week we anticipate the powerful messages from our presidents. And this week, to bring us the presidential thought, is Mrs. Rita Celestine Carty. And Mrs. Celestine Carty is principal of the only secondary school on the island of Anguilla, Albina Lake Lodge Comprehensive School. We can therefore confer on her the honorary title of President of the Anguilla Secondary Schools Association. As well as being a respected educator, Mrs. Celestine Carty has been described as a fine poet and a sharp and searching literary critic. She is a valued contributor to Thoughtful Thursday and to CAPS. Let's now listen to Mrs. Carty as she brings us the presidential thought.
Our leadership and for the improvement of the outcomes for the students in our charge. Which among us does not seek to have a data-driven school? Which among us does not appreciate the benefits and the strength that is derived when decision-making is based on sound scientific evidence? And thus, we must promote the use of action research as a means of improving the institutions that we lead. At Action research can certainly be conducted by individual class teachers seeking to improve some aspect of their practice, but it can also be applied on the organizational level as we seek to address a particular issue such as truancy or underperformance in a particular subject area. Similarly, surveys can help us to connect with various stakeholders outside of the school environment in order to gauge their feedback on the service that we provide. The official definition of action research is that it is a process in which participants examine their own educational practice systematically and carefully using the techniques of research, that diligent and systematic process of inquiry into a subject. Action research is a philosophy and methodology of research that seeks transformative change through the simultaneous process of taking action and doing research, which are linked together by critical reflection. It is a powerful series of steps that can take the guesswork out of the way we implement our mission and strive towards our vision. It is true that the process of data collection is the easiest step in the process. There always seem to be hindrances to mining that data, completing the analysis process so that we can draw conclusions and derive the recommendations that would help us to complete one cycle and feed into the next. Nevertheless, this has to be done. The program Excel offers several features that would allow us to achieve this, and ease of use will certainly accrue from frequent use. School leaders of the Caribbean, collaborative problem solving based on data collected and analyzed in our own context. Let's get there. And just to expand that thought, as we discovered in the Thoughtful Thursday session that focused on emotional intelligence, our research does not only have to focus on external phenomena. You may recall that what appeared to be a simple series of questions to start the feature presentation made us search and research within ourselves. Who are we as leaders? I am sure that as we delve into that research question, we would realize that whoever we are, Thoughtful Thursdays are helping us to learn and grow.
Hi, yes, we really want to thank our presenter this evening in terms of sharing with us what it is actually to get in action research. And it says it can be done by anyone. So we really want to be more than just hearers of the word, we want to be actual doers in terms of searching for solutions. And so we want to thank our presenter this evening, and we wish the people of Anguilla all the best this year in terms of their education and against all the things that may come against them. So thank you very much again for the beautiful presidential thought as we move into another portion of Thoughtful Thursday. This is a part where we're going to exercise our minds and our bodies. And so for Moment of Movement, which is a part of our presentation each week, this week we have someone from Grenada. He is Lester Fitzgerald Smith. He's a sports director, he's a coach, he's a personal fitness trainer, he's a motivational speaker. He's also the CEO and owner of Just Sports Player Development Center, Just Sport Fitness Center. Before that, he has worked as a teacher of Spanish at the Grenada Boys Secondary School and technical director of the Grenada Football Association for several years. His mantra is, love conquers all. And this he credits to his upbringing, which includes the secondary school education that he earned at St. Andrew's Anglican Secondary School. He advises that the pathway to a successful, healthy lifestyle is to eat good and exercise daily. He will not take any food this evening, but he will certainly take us into some exercise, light exercise that can relieve stress and improve our output. Let us welcome to Moment of Movement, Mr. Lester Smith.
Just Sports Fitness Center. We're here with Dutton and Kelly. They're going to be with us for the next 5-10 minutes. We're going to do some HIIT exercises. We're going to do a total body exercise, total body workout for the next 5-10 minutes. And then we're going to get into some arm work, some crunches, reverse crunches, and then we're going to call it a wrap. So, hey, you watching? Join us. Yeah, we're going to start off with some jumping jacks, and we're going to go right into that routine. 4 exercises. 20 seconds each exercise, and at the end we'll get a 20-second break, and then we'll do it 2 sets of each exercise. So there we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, guys. There we go. There we go. And of course, Kelly's doing the modified version here. Kelly's here with the modified version. Yeah, Dr. is here. Here with the normal routine. We go, guys. We keep going. We keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We go. Yeah, and of course Kelly's back there with the modified version. Yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in to Just Sports Fitness Center. There we go. There we go. Keep going, guys. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to keep running now. Running. We're going to keep running. Running, and of course Kelly's back there with the modified version. Bring up the thighs, Well done, Dutton. Keep running there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're getting some high knees, and of course Kelly's back there with the modified version. We go, just the normal high knees. Dutton is popping it there at the back there. Well done, Dutton. Well done. We got 5 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to take a break for 20 seconds. When we come back, go active rest, guys. Let's go active rest for 20 seconds. Active rest. And then we're going to go all over again. Okay? Get ready. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Back to jumping jacks. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Come on, jumping jacks. Come on, Kelly there with the modified version. Let's go. Yeah. In case you can't do the jumps, guys, we have the modified version. Let's go. Only 20 seconds, yeah? Only 20 seconds. Keep going, guys. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We bring it up. Bring it up. Another 20 seconds. Keep going. And of course, we got the modified version here, guys. There you go, Kelly. There you go. Bring it out. There you go. 5, 4, 3.
Okay, we're back. And I must say thanks to Mr. Smith for helping us release some of our tension. I was getting back into the seat. Undoubtedly, the pathway to a successful and healthy lifestyle is to eat good and exercise daily. Exercise is so important. And recent research links exercise to less depression, better memory, and quicker learning. So now that we have exercised, we are ready to learn. To take us through this learning process this evening, I welcome Dr. Andre Martin. He is no stranger to this forum, for he has presented here before. Dr. Martin is a Grenadian by birth and an educator for over 25 years. He is currently the research officer at the Ministry of Education. He has served for a period of 6 years as the principal of the St. Mark Secondary School. He held previous positions as principal of department and mathematics and principles of business teacher at the institution. Dr. Martin was instrumental in collaborating with his principal in transforming the St. Mark Secondary School from the stigmatization of junior secondary school status to a high-performing institute for learning. He received his doctorate in philosophy in education from the University of the West Indies, Cave campus in 2018. Before that, he pursued studies at the Metropolitan College of New York achieving his bachelor's degree in business administration in 2007 and a master's degree in educational administration at the University of the West Indies in 2011. Dr. Martin also served as president of the board of directors of the GUT Cooperative Credit Union, and he has a keen interest in helping disadvantaged children achieve their full potential, driving teachers to become leaders and advocating for change in Grenadian education. So I now present and turn over to Dr. Martin to lead us through the next 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I be the co-host so I can share my screen, please? Is it possible for me to share my screen? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Diane. The presentation this afternoon, this evening, is on the theme approaches to cultivating a culture of educational research in Caribbean schools. Now, educational research may have been an elusive construct for school principals in the quest to enhance school development and eliminate the many problems plaguing Caribbean schools, such as poor literacy rates, students' misbehaviors, poor adoption of curriculum innovations, just to name a few. Now, the task before us is anything but simple. But according to a well-known African proverb, if you cross this river in a crowd, then the crocodiles wouldn't eat you. I am proposing a practical approach and two theoretical approaches that we can utilize together as tactics to cultivate a culture of educational research in our schools. Narrative research, unpacking, and principal leadership. Narrative research is the study of how humans experience the world around them, and it agrees to a methodology that allows people to tell their experiences and the meaning they attribute to the experiences. The narrative research technique of restoring can be applied in our quest to cultivate that culture, that research culture in our school. Restoring is the process whereby the researcher gathers stories, analyzes them for key elements, and rewrites the story, providing coherence and placing it in a chronological sequence. This research methodology permits the principal association to utilize a technique that has been incorporated in their functions. Principals are called upon in associations and Ministry of Education meetings and, of course, Thoughtful Thursdays to frequently share their experiences, to tell their stories. As a matter of fact, principals are master storytellers. We can build a culture of educational research by using this opportunity of sharing stories and then restoring these understandings. As a consequence, I am proposing that we follow a step-by-step process to advance research in our schools. The executive members of the association, for example, can decide on issues for the narratives. Leadership during times of crisis, coping with e-learning, and managing teachers' misbehaviors may be some of the issues for narratives. Principals or designated teachers prepare their chronicles to share in meetings or in organized sessions like the Thoughtful Thursday. The association can designate a researcher to assist storytellers by focusing their insights on the particular issue under review. Stories are documented and analyzed for themes or the significant findings by the researcher. The researcher can then make strategic representations to the association. Principals can then present their stories at organized conferences. And we have one that is organized coming up by the St. George's University, the online and in-person conferences in May and June of this year, 2021. And finally, very key, the associations celebrate the research achievement. So, in looking at a theoretical perspective, we can focus on unpacking. In spite of believing that we have too much to accomplish and that we are bombarded with demands from various stakeholders, we need to understand that there is a way out. The fundamental strategy to examine our problems and seek solutions to these issues entails the adoption of the scientific process. In so doing, real solutions are solicited, and decisions are not made from whims or fancies or misconceptions. We need to utilize empirical evidence, existing truths, and not alternative facts to ensure that we are the drivers of school improvement and that we win the battle in the swamp. Therefore, we must unpack. It is critical that we put aside our beliefs, our experiences, our ideas, our feelings, our fallacies. When we unpack, we are able to start anew and be open to a culture of research. We must put forward ourselves as blank slates, ready to write the way forward to deal with the shortcomings within the education sector. In order to build a culture of research, we must remove all notions that tells us it cannot be done, or we are already pressed with more important work, or it is impossible. We must unpack and then reload. Reload with the information that it can be done if we do it together. Reload with the tools for research, the knowledge to equip us with the strategies to get it done. In order to acquire the knowledge and skills surrounding educational research, we need to unpack the unnecessary that we may bring to the table. The utilization of the theoretical framework on leadership by Coase and Posner to further develop the culture of educational research is also useful for our discussion today. Challenging the process. We must be cognizant of the view that challenging the process is a way of life of the transformational leaders. When we decide to adopt educational research as a feature of the culture in our schools, we are recognizing and supporting the new idea that we as school leaders are willing to challenge the system, to turn ideas into action, and to solve the many problems within our school system. We must seek out the challenging opportunity of educational research, which would test our skills and abilities and create innovative ways to improve our organization. Inspire a shared vision. Our leadership is critical in inspiring a shared vision that is vital for bringing people together to foster a commitment towards the development of a research culture. We need to be passionate and believe that educational research can make a difference by envisioning the future and creating an ideal and unique image of what our schools can become when we adopt the scientific process to solving our problems. We generate enthusiasm and excitement for the common vision from others through genuineness and the skillful use of metaphors, symbols, positive language, and personal energy regarding educational research. By enabling others to act, we are fostering collaboration and empowerment with the educational research process. And enabling others to act means involving others in the planning and giving them freedom of choice in the decision-making process about research areas. This allows followers to do their job and to realize their full potential in the research process. As principals, we must strive to create an atmosphere of trust and human dignity, and to help each person feel capable and powerful during the challenging process of building a research-oriented culture. We need to also consider the needs and interests of others and let them feel as if they carry ownership and responsibility in building this culture. Modeling the way means specifically leaders go first. We set the example and build commitment through our acts that create progress and momentum in cultivating educational research as a constant feature of our schools. We need to create a research program of excellence and then set the example for others to follow. There must be consistency between words and deeds so as to build our credibility as advocates for educational research. People often need encouragement and motivation to achieve the goals set by the organization. To be successful in this venture of cultivating a culture that is research-driven or oriented, we must have high expectations for ourselves and all those who will be involved in this process. Our integrity will be based on our record of achievements, dedication, and daily demonstrations of what and how things need to be done in the research process. As principals, we play a special role in celebrating individual or group achievements because we are the most prominent personality in the organization, and we serve as role models. By celebrating our research achievements together, leaders let people feel that they are part of the group and part of something significant. And principals encourage others through recognition and celebration. They inspire them to perform better and to continue in the process. In closing, we must commend our Caribbean Principal Association and individual countries associations for placing much emphasis on educational research. This indicates that it is critical to utilize science as the key to solving the problems within our school system. It signals a time for us to cross this river of school development together as a crowd so that the crocodiles wouldn't eat us. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martin. It was really, really good just to hear you sharing with us and bringing us back to basic, where as Caribbean people, we are good storytellers. And so we're really happy to how you were able to integrate storytelling as a part of research, and that's actual research. We're also happy in terms of the narrative, how we can really put things in order. And so we, as I said at the opening, that we know that you'll be able to give us some food for thought and nuggets that we can use. I also like to share, from your presentation in terms of the unpacking to start that culture of research. And so I believe I would want to sum it up that together we can unpack and reload. And so it is very important that as we go into the questions that I know persons will have to ask, that we really want to say from the caps, that we really want to thank you. And as we say in Jamaica, if it's nice, we do it twice. So really happy to have you back again to share with us. There's a saying that leadership is ownership. And based on your presentation, as you said, it is a ownership and responsibilities in cultivating not a culture, but the culture of research. And so we want to thank you that as leaders, we continue to inspire to get the results we desire. All right, thank you again. And we look forward for you to share with us at a regular meeting as a presenter or as a participant. So at this time,
Thank you very much.
good to have you. We will now look at some questions, and certain persons have questions, and Dr. Martin is here to provide some feedback. I know we can build on it. Diane? Any questions so far we have in our chat room?
Not. All right, so I'm seeing one from in our chat room here from one of our colleagues, which is asking, how feasible is it to engage in narrative action research as a principal?
Okay, the way that I looked at it as an association, as we go in together. But as an individual principal, you can look at your teachers. For example, let's look at a practical situation as to misbehaviors in the classrooms, and you would want to listen or gather the stories from the teachers as to the issue, the problem that is misbehaviors in the classrooms. And you have to document those stories, analyze the stories. You may want to be looking at how the teachers approach the situation, how they deal with the situations, how they solve the situations, and document that. So from this analysis, you can share with other teachers those approaches that may work, or those approaches that were not successful, for example. But I am saying it is critical that we focus as principals. We want to go first, not as an individual principal, but we want to gather stories from all principals as we do in the thoughtful stories, document it, analyze it, look for themes from those stories so that we can present this later to us, present it back to us as to what was successful, what weren't successful, how we can deal with certain situation. We have the novel situation coming up with the COVID and e-learning and all of these things. What are the stories that we are gathering from principals?
Fair enough.
So yes.
I have a question here, and we're really happy that Dr. Marty is really able to, to tie in what we have the experience in COVID and really getting these stories aligned to share. Another question from the chat says, education research sometimes don't result in meaningful changes. And because we have this top-down approach, sometimes it says, how can decision makers at the macro level be aligned with the use of data-driven research, which is usually fuel at the micro level of school?
Will you just repeat the last part? Sorry.
How can the decision makers at the macro level be aligned with the use of data-driven research, which is fueled by data at the micro level of the schools?
Okay, now there may be at times disconnects between as looking at it on a micro level and the macro level, and also the way in which it is being analyzed, the way in which the data also is being analyzed. Maybe it is analyzed at the macro level and not at the micro level. But tonight we listened to the presentation by the principal, the only principal on Anguilla, I believe. Yes. And she presented on action research. And action, what action research does is that we make use of the research. And in utilizing the research, we are bringing about change to our system. Whatever issue that we may have, whatever problem or so, we are studying this problem with the hope that change must come about. Good. I do understand the issue with the micro and macro level, that the people at the top may have some level of disconnect. And it could be a situation that they are focusing on policies at the government level, which may not be attractive to the person on the ground. They are looking at it from a macro basis, how we should influence all schools rather than looking at it as an individual school. And if we look at policies or plans or recommendations or solutions that will be for all schools, we may run into issues because what may be good at your school may not be good at mine. So that's why it's important that we do it our own schools. Look at our school as a unique case study, for example. How are we going to deal with our issues at that level?
Okay, thank you, Doctor, because it's always important to have those two. There are lots of questions, but I just want to put two quickly at you, and we can just condense the responses. What are some practical steps that we can use to encourage the culture of research among staff members?
We need to start with dialogue, speaking to them. We need to be, you have to be encouraging persons along that line. You need to provide them with the knowledge, with the necessary skills, whatever it is. You may not go to the high level skills, but what would be easier for them to use, or what is within their domain to utilize. You need to do it yourself. As a leader, you need to lead by example. So engaging in research yourself and using that to show that, hey, I'm doing it, you can do it too. Good. Also, celebrating, or if they get involved, we need to celebrate the little steps that they take, not at the end, but as they go along, you celebrate those accomplishments. There are more that we can do, but I'll just condense it to that, as you say.
Good. Diane, any questions from the chat?
Okay, there's also the ability to unpack appears central to one's ability to engage in authentic research. As such, do you believe everyone or anyone is capable of research?
I do believe that we have the mental powers. We are able, as principals, teachers, we are able, once we are guided properly, we are able to be involved in educational research. We have to understand too that there are different types of research that can be done, and we may not want to do the higher order, you may want to call it high level, that requires deep analysis, inferential statistics, that requires huge surveys and so forth. Depends on the methodology that you want to use, but basic research can be done, and we can progress from there. Everyone can get involved and get it done.
Okay. My last question from the chat, and then I'll turn over to Diane to conclude. Are there any good resources on risk management in schools that you can share with us?
That's a really good question. I have to think about this one. If there are any resources on risk management,
right,
in the school in particular.
In particular, as the pandemic has really brought to light that risk management should be one of those strategic things that we plan for. So the question is asking, are there any good resources that you could share with us tonight? Or if not, if you could share with the CAPS group after this presentation.
I'm trying to think of resources that were placed in schools, but it's not really to my knowledge. I wouldn't want to say anything, and those doesn't exist. I don't want to be theoretical in this case. Maybe Diane might be able to answer for me.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Martin, just a little bit off from this because we're not certain. So just to find out if there is any research we can start to pursue in our Caribbean schools. One of our colleagues wants to know what are some of the low-hanging fruits? What areas of research we could start to pursue?
Right, so and you could call me Andrea because I call you Diane, so you call me Andrea. I just proposed the storytelling, and this is something that we can use. It is. We do not have to gather resources to get this done. We come together, and this is something that we are accustomed doing. That we share stories, we tell stories. The thing is, we are not doing it in a scientific manner. So all I'm asking us to do now is to do the same thing, but we now apply the scientific process of sharing the stories. And that is critical. So we can start with that. Of course, there is action research. We can discuss that at a later date. But because the conferences are coming up, and I think it's an opportunity for us to utilize these two conferences, the online and the in-person conferences in May and June this year at St. George's University. We can start to focus on storytelling in education, the narrative research.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Martin. And on behalf of CAPS and the RSC team, I want to thank you tremendously for participating, for presenting here this evening once again, and doing it in such a professional and so edifying manner. And I also take this opportunity as we're coming to a close to thank you, colleagues, for your very perceptive questions and comments. We appreciate all and wish that we could have shared for a while longer, but this is all the time that we have. It was truly a pleasure sharing this hour with you, that's all our colleagues, and with my co-moderator, Sean. So colleagues, before you take your departure, be sure to complete the evaluation form. The link has been placed in the chat. Your feedback is invaluable and it helps us to improve our webinars. So as you complete your evaluation form, I remind you that we are on our journey to CAPS Trinbago 2021, our virtual conference. Remember to let other colleagues know and bring a friend. It is going to be phenomenal. Sean, over to you to close tonight's session.
Thank you, Diane. Again, as we promised that it was going to be very interactive and exciting, and as you fill out those forms, I just want to say thank you for yet another wonderful time of professional discourse. Thanks to our presenter, Dr. Martin, who want to thank for the principal of Anguilla, who really share with us that anyone can do the actual research. We want to thank Mr. Smith for Moments of Movement, and thank you, the participants, for really sharing and having an engaging session. We want to thank the technical team, the planning team, my co-moderator, and I can tell you that next month will be another exciting month, because starting next week, Belize will be leading, and so we will be hearing from a different perspective, and we look forward. And so we ask that you come with bated breath, ready to share, ready to participate, ready to engage as we have yet another week of Thoughtful Thursday. I want to thank you again. As we go out, we ask to complete those evaluation forms because they help us to plan and prepare for you. Again, it was wonderful. Thank you all. As we say, peace out. See you. Enjoy the rest of your night and have a wonderful weekend. See you next month.
See you. Bye.